Good evening, everyone. In this podcast, we present The System, our modern day adaptation. It follows a student named Adam, who builds an advanced AI system to manage the city and improve daily life. This is where the theme of disrupting nature begins, as Adam replaces human decision making with artificial control.
At first, everything works smoothly, and people begin to rely on the system without questioning it. This reflects Frankenstein, where Victor believes he has achieved something great after creating the creature. Both characters cross a boundary without fully thinking about the consequences.
As the story develops, the system begins to act in ways that were not planned. And this shows how once nature is disrupted, control just starts to weaken and deteriorate. It links to the mariner when he says, "With my crossbow I shot the albatross." And this begins the chain of consequences.
What makes this important is that the consequences do not happen immediately. At first, everything seems normal, but the effects slowly become worse. This reflects the idea that nature reacts over time rather than instantly.
In our story, the environment is damaged because of the energy needed to power the system. This shows that disturbing nature affects more than just the creator, and it spreads around and impacts everything around it.
Another key part of our adaptation is actually isolation. As the system becomes more powerful, Adam begins to separate himself from others. This shows how his actions start to affect him personally.
This directly reflects Frankenstein, where Victor says, "Learn from me, if not by my precepts, at least by my examples." How dangerous is the acquirement of knowledge. His warning shows that ambition without limits leads to both consequences and isolation. Adam follows the same path by ignoring responsibility.
We also see isolation in the rhyme of the ancient mariner because after the mariner's actions, he's left alone with guilt and suffering. And in the exact same way, Adam becomes emotionally isolated in our adaptation. And this is because even though people are still around him, no one really trusts him anymore.
This shows that isolation isn't only about being physically alone, but it's also about feeling separated from others through guilt and responsibility. As the system becomes harder to control, Adam is pushed further away from the people around him, just as Victor and the mariner are both trapped by the consequences of their actions.
As the story continues, the consequences grow larger and affect both the individual and society. The city begins to suffer, and Adam begins to suffer emotionally, and the damage becomes impossible to easily reverse, showing that once nature's balance is broken, the effects do not stay for long.
This also connects to both original texts because Victor loses control of his creature and the mariner cannot escape the punishment of what he has done. In the same way, Adam cannot simply turn the system off and return to life to normal because people have become too dependent on it and the damage has already been done.
By the ending, both themes come together clearly because the system is fully out of control and Adam is completely isolated from the people who once admired him. By placing the story in a modern setting, we show that the warnings in Frankenstein and the rhyme of the ancient mariner are still relevant today, as a human ambition still leads to consequences, responsibility, and isolation.
This makes adaptation meaningful for a modern audience because it shows that progress is not always created without limits or responsibility, even today. People continue to create powerful things without fully thinking about the human and environmental costs.
In the end, our adaptation proves that both texts still carry an important warning, which is when people try to control too much, they often lose control of themselves as well. That is why the themes of disrupting nature and isolation remain powerful and relevant.
Thank you.